Right, good morning everyone. Hope the volume now is better. We want to close the learning gap of inverse and direct proportion. All right, so this is a part where you take out your exercise 7C and then let's do the corrections. Right, let's look at the first question. It says that Q is inversely proportion to P, right? And with this statement, usually we can write something like that. But I want you to know that this is wrong because this is direct proportion, right? So how does it look like for inverse? Inverse actually it looks like the one in green, all right? So then how do I continue, right? Because some of us are still a little bit confused. I would like to show you and share with you that it is really very easy. We are going to use these 4 steps for all the questions in this paper. So let's take a look at the 4 steps. First step, form the equation, right? So forming the equation means I write something like Q equals to K over P. Now, secondly, I want to try and find my K, right? Now, how do I find my K? So I will try and replace some values in, and very quickly I can find my K. So this is step 2, right? Now, step 3, I want to replace my K. That means I want to put this uh, K equals to 0.5 and replace in the K here. So let me show you how it looks like. So replace in the K here, right? So how it looks like is that you will see something like that. Where is this? Right? So replacing means rewriting this here. Alright, the Q remain as Q, the P remain as P, but the K is 0.5. I will replace the K with a number 0.5, right? So majority of you actually got this, but this is wrong. Not exactly wrong, but it's a wrong representation. Why so? Because you cannot put both the decimal. You see there's a decimal here, and then there is also a fraction, right? So you cannot put it together. So how do you present? Either you take the Q, you multiply over, and you say, oh, PQ equals to 0.5, or you try and express the divide and change it to a 1, multiply by 1 over P. 0.5 change it to half, putting together, you get something like that. Alright? Oh dear. I never do part 2 and part 3. So this is actually your step number 3, right? Replace the K with a value. Now for step 4, which is the questions given, right? So when P is 5, then I will just need to put in into here, right? So 1 over 2, and then I have a 5, and this is 0.1. Part 3, simple, right? Q equals to 0.2, so I'll put 0.2 equals to 1 over 2P, multiplying it over, right? So I will have 0.4P equals to 1, P equals to 1 over 0.4. No worries, take out your calculator, and you probably will get the answer pretty quickly, right? So it is just 2.5. Okay, so there you go. That is for question 4. Now for question 7, there are actually 2 ways to solve it. I will use the one that you are familiar, right? I will talk about method 2 first. So there are 72 athletes to last for 6 days. So 7 athletes to last for 6 days. Never mind, let me go through method 1. I think method 1 helps us to understand whether is it inverse or direct. Because the golden question here is this direct or inverse? Alright, because the equation looks differently, right? Yeah, so let's take a look at the idea here. So 72 athletes will last for 6 days. Then the question is, if 18 of them were absent, 56 of them actually can last how many days, right? The food. So let's have the idea here. So if the 72 actually drop to 56, that means there are lesser athletes. Now over here, should I have more or less days, right? So what do I actually put in here? Um, so let me erase this. Yeah, good. Yeah, so I can give one example. Say for example, one apple costs $3. Then four apples, does it cost more or cost less? So you see over here, this is more. Over here, this is more. So I can understand it as if I multiply by 4 here, I will also multiply by 4 here. So there you go, 4 apples cost $12. Now if one man clean the room in 3 hours, then 4 men should have more people, should have lesser time, right? Lesser time. So how it works, if this is more, this is less, and the idea here is if I multiply by 4 here, I will divide by 4 here. So actually you will take 3/4 of an hour. Alright, so as you can see here, this is a very clear illustration of direct and inverse. So we know that in this question 7, alright, this is actually a inverse kind of relationship, not a direct. Okay, but 72 to 56 is quite tough. I don't know what number to divide or multiply, alright, but I know I can find one, right? So if I choose to divide by 72, on the other side, I know that I need to times the 72, right? Because it is in an inverse relation. So one athlete actually take 432 days to complete all the food, right? So if I want to have 56 multiply, I will need to divide by 56. So 432 divide by 56 will give you 8 days, right? Ah, 54. Hey, sorry, I made a mistake here. It's not 56, it should be 54. That's why the value here doesn't give you a very nice number. So if I divide by 54, let me try again. 432 divide by 54. There you go. Then you'll get 8 days, alright? So then I can go on and say, right, oh, so that means the answer is 8 days, right? 8 days. But this is wrong, right? But why is this wrong? Because the question say, how many more days? So many of you actually put 8 days, all right? So how many more days is actually just 2 more days. And there's an assumption here. A majority of you did not put this assumption. So can you write down the assumption? You must assume, right, every person actually consume the same amount of food, all right? So that you cannot have like one person eat a lot more and then the whole calculation doesn't make sense, right? Right, so let's go to method 2. Because it is inverse, we know that the A must be K over D, all right? So let's illustrate. A is the number of athletes and D is number of days. Now let's zoom into this. We can see that it follow the same 4 steps. Step number 1, form the equation. Step number 2, find the K. Step number 3, rewrite the equation and then replace the K with a number. Step number 4, put in the numbers because athlete equals to 54, right? Not 56. So let me erase this, right? So this is 54. This should be 54. And then you got 8 days. So how many more days? 2 more days. Okay. Now question 8. Again, same 4 steps. Step number 1. I want to write the equation. Inversely proportion. So it looks somewhat like that. Step number 2, I want to try and find K. So putting in 5 and 7 into the equation, you should be able to find K quite easily. And then step number 3, I want to rewrite the equation. So I want to replace the K with a number, right? Replace K with a number. So let me highlight that. I want to replace this k with 35. Alright, otherwise the whole equation looks the same. Step number 4, I want to now answer the question. So when z is 70, I will put 70 inside, right? Put 70 inside the z, and I will try and find the answer of x. Alright, so x is 0.5. So this one majority of you got it correct. So I will just pause here, take down the corrections and move on to the next question. Now, question 11, even though it is like a word problem kind of thing, it still follow the 4 same step. Step number 1, I want to write the equation. So equation, because it's inverse, right? So the k is on top and the lambda, the wavelength is at the bottom, right? This symbol here is called lambda. Now, I want to find k. So using what I know, 3100, I will put it inside and I will find k. So that's our step number 2. Step number 3, I want to rewrite the equation. So it looks somewhat like that. Step number 4, I can now answer the question, right? When the wavelength is 500, I will put 500 into the wavelength, and there you go, that is the answer. Similarly, when the frequency is 800, put in the calculation, you should get the wavelength. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now let's go to the next one, question 5. Same thing, form the equation, but instead of p now is p plus 3. Instead of q now is q squared, right? So follow the question and then just insert accordingly. Step number 2, same thing, I want to find the k. So put in the values, I should be able to find the k. So k is actually 125. Step number 3, I want to rewrite the equation, putting back the value of k equals to 125 into the equation. Otherwise, this and this should look the same, right? So this and this thing should look the same. Rewrite the equation. Just replace the k with a number. Step number 4, I want to solve the equation when p is this and I got this, and then I try to square root, but this is wrong. So just a gentle reminder, what you need to do is to remember to put the plus minus whenever you square root, because 2.5 times 2.5 is equal to 6.25. Also, negative 2.5, negative 2.5, multiply them together, also get 6.25. So don't forget there are two answers whenever you square root. Now, question 9, still the same 4 steps. So step 1, I want to write the equation. Step 2, I want to try and find k. But I notice I am stuck, right? Because they did not really give me the value of y. But I know y is a number, right? So what I can do is I can let y be represented by any random alphabet. So in this case, maybe I choose p. Put in the values, I have p equals to k over 2. But I have two unknowns here, so I am not sure what I want to do. But then they give you another x value. So go ahead, right? So put in the x value. The y is a number, but it cannot be just p, right? Because x is 0.5, y is p. X is 2, y shouldn't be p anymore. So let me use another alphabet. And I probably can get q equals to like k over 5, right? Now, then after that, again, this is too unknown. Then I'm stuck. So I try to read the question again. It says that the difference between the value of y is 0.9. So I know that the difference is 0.9. But then difference means minus. But what should I minus, right? So I should always use the idea of a big minus small should give you a positive 0.9. So then the question is k over 2 versus k over 5, which one is bigger? So you want to know if you convert half, right? Half into a fraction, this is like 0.5k. This is like 0.2k. Oh, so actually k over 2 is bigger. So I put k over 2 in front. k over 2 minus k over 5 equals to 9. Now this is one unknown, and this help us to solve for the unknown, right? So putting it as the same fraction, combining it, and then cross multiply, divide, and so on, you got k equals to 3. Now don't forget, this is our step number 2. Step number 3, I want to rewrite the equation. Step number 4, I want to solve the question. So put back the k equals to 3 into the equation. When x is negative 0.25, y will be equals to 6. There you go. Do let me know if you have any question. Let us meet up and let us discuss. All right. So have a great day learning.